show you how to sand and polish a cabochon. I got a 30 by 40 here. It's mahogany obsidian. We're going to go ahead and sand it. We're going to start with the 200 grit, 400, 600, and then we'll polish it, so we'll see what kind of result we get here. I've got the machine running. We'll turn on the water, and then water flowing, and then we're going to start. I've got a real good fit here, so I'm not going to work much on the edge at all. I don't want to wear it down and get it cut too small, so I'm just going to pretty much leave it how it is. So we're going to go ahead and start. Let's see, there's no special technique or method. What you want to do though is make sure you keep the cab turning. That's a 200 grit wheel. It's diamond. It will cut a flat spot if you leave it too long. So we're just gonna work on this a while. I don't know, probably 2 or 3 minutes. I'm gonna do just a little on the edge. Once you have the shape cut and the dome cut, that's the hard part. The rest of it's just a matter of taking your time, and especially on obsidian, take your time and make sure you get all the scratches out. Make sure you get every square millimeter sanded down. If you don't, you'll see it in the finished product. All right, we're going to pause for a second. I'm going to go ahead and change the sanding belt here. We'll be back in just a second. Okay, I've changed the belt. We're down to the 400 grit. I'm going to work on the sides a little, and I like to get around behind it a little bit. Get the rough surface off that. So that's why I like to work on that back side just a little. And we'll work on the girdle there, make sure it's nice and smooth. And then we'll just sand her just like we did on the 200 step. I imagine, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. I don't ever time it. I just, when I think it's good, I go just a little longer, and then I know it's good. Now, I've gotten so I don't like any line at all around my girdle. I don't know how well you can see it, but there's really no line there. If you have a straight line, some people think it's cool to cut a straight line across here. They make it think it looks like they're very precise and talented. What it does makes it really hard to keep it straight, and if you have the least little flaw in it, it'll show up. But if you round it off, no such problem. So where this is a 400 grit, it's not removing much material. It removes some, but it doesn't remove much. So I'm going to give it a good sanding, because you cannot get a quality finish if you don't do a good job of sanding. And again, I don't time it. I just, whenever I think it's done, whenever I feel like I've done a good job, I'll call it good. You see here, I'm getting over on the girdle a little. Then I bring it right around, so I'm rounding it off, getting it nice and round. And then just work it in toward the middle. You just want to make sure you don't miss any area. Since I'm making a video, I'm even going to go a little longer, because I don't want to feel bad if I don't get a good polish. So I'll make sure I've got it done right. Well, that's looking and feeling pretty good. I can't feel any imperfections at all in it. So we're going to go ahead and pause while I change belts again. Okay, I guess I assumed everybody knows what an expandable drum is. It's just a rubber drum. It's got slits cut in the side, and when your shaft turns, the centrifugal force makes the outside cover of the drum expand. That's what holds the belt in place. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this belt on. It only takes about a minute to change belts. All right, it's looking pretty good. We got her on nice and even. So we're going to go ahead and turn her on, and we'll start with a 600 grit. Let it get up to speed here. Takes it a few seconds to get turning at full speed. Now turning the drum at 1725 RPM. Here we go with the 600 grit. Our time. Some people get in a hurry, but that's the problem when you get in a hurry. Especially obsidian, it cuts easy, and it can get deep scratches in it. So you really need to take your time and make sure you've got all the scratches out. I'm probably going to go 5 to 7 minutes on this. And if the cameraman will bear with me, we'll film the whole 5 or 7 minutes. Again, there's no magic method to how you sand it. You just want to keep it moving. 600 grit, you probably wouldn't cut a flat spot, but you have to keep it moving to make sure you cover the whole surface.
The cameraman let her finger go in front of it, because I thought water was slipping up on it, just so you know.
cab is probably the hardest part, but actually the sanding is the most important part. Because if you don't get it sanded right, you're not going to get a good polish. Whereas if you don't shape it right or dome it right, you'll just have a bad piece, but it'll have a nice polish. So take your time with everything. If you're cutting for money, that's different, but if you're cutting to have fun and to do a good job, just take your time. I actually think that's probably good enough, but when I think it's good enough, I go just a little longer. It's a 600 grit wheel. It would be really hard to over sand it. So if I go a little longer than I have to, I just wasted a few seconds. Just want to make sure there is no sign of any scratches in it when I get ready to polish it. All right, that's good. We're going to pause and I'll put the polishing wheel on and okay, here's the cab we're gonna be polishing. It's still a little wet. Like I said, it's a mahogany cab from Glass Butte, Oregon. It's gonna have a little bit of gold sheen in it, it looks like. First thing we're gonna do here, we're gonna slow down my machine. I use the slowest speed when I polish. You see I got a 3-step gear here, a 3-step wheel over here. So we put it on the little wheel on the motor and the big wheel on the shaft. Now slow it down to somewhere probably around 1,000 RPM. Next thing we got to do, this is polishing compound, cerium oxide. We're going to put a little water in it. Stir it up nicely. Some people don't like to use their fingers, but I got no problem with it. Now we're going to put the polishing head on. I'm using felt. I think that felt and cerium oxide give the best polish on obsidian. I haven't found anything that works better. Okay, let's put a little water on the polishing head here. Now we're going to put a little polishing compound on the head. It's already got some in it, but I always add a little. That should be good. Gonna turn her on. Let her get up to speed. And and we gonna start. Hope there's enough light. It'll probably take 4 or 5 minutes. You can get a good polish in 2 or 3, but hey, what's the hurry? Just take your time. Again, you want to cover every square centimeter. You can see the felt sheds. This is only hobby grade felt, but it works fine. Doesn't cost much money. When it wears out, I put a new piece on. I'm thinking it's pretty good by now, so we'll let it go a little bit more, so it'll be really good. Been getting a really, really nice shine on this obsidian. I'm going to call that good. At least I'm going to take a look at it and go ahead and pause it. Alright, I think she's got a good polish on her now, so I'm going to wipe all the polishing compound off. And we'll have a look-see. Looks pretty dang good. It's got a little bit of sheen in it, plus the orange and black that's typical of mahogany. I don't know if you can see any of the sheen flashing or not, but it's actually a very nice cab. It got a good shine on it. A lot of people have trouble polishing obsidian, but if you just take your time and all the sanding steps and use cerium and felt to polish with, you'll come out with good results. Maybe even as good as I get.